Francisco
Drop.
for the Lions.
Thanks to NBC. Derek Barnes, the game-winning interception there in the fourth quarter as the Detroit Lions have punched their ticket on to the NFC Championship game in San Francisco. And I think we may be good luck for our next guest, Jennifer Hammond. She's a Lions post-game show for 97.1. The Ticket has been with Fox 2 Detroit for the past 26 years. Jennifer, it's Manuch alongside Jax. Welcome in. And I don't know if this continues. We have to talk to you the next couple weeks if you move on to the Super Bowls as the good luck charms for the Detroit Lions.
Hey, I'm down with that, but you got to promise me that you replace, and all props, love Mike Tirico. He's a buddy of mine, but you got to drop in the Dan Miller game-winning play from the radio broadcast if I'm on next week, okay? You got to promise me that.
We will do that. We got to make sure that we have the rights and the right to do that. As you know, in radio, we got to make sure we can do it that way.
This is true.
Hey,
I'll get you clearance. My radio station.
Thank you, and give Dan our best. I know he was struggling last week with that voice, but do you watch the game from the field, or are you up in the press box?
I'm up in the press box for the game.
Okay, I can guarantee you, I'll bet you dollars and don'ts, you were not sitting down on that final drive by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, correct?
Well, I actually was down on the field for that final drive, and when Derek Barnes picked off, so we get to go down on the field with 4 minutes left to go because we had to do a post-game show.
Okay.
So we were down there getting ready to get into place, and when Barnes picked it off, I think that's the loudest I've ever heard Ford Field in my life. I mean, it was insanity, and I was a little bit anxious. I thought for sure that Baker Mayfield wasn't going to be able to Matt Stafford them. If they would have put Stafford in that position the week before, which Ben Johnson wasn't about to do, that's why he wanted to make sure that they got the first down and they took the ball and they kept the ball. But I will tell you that by the time that pass was picked off, that place erupted and they ran right into the corner of the end zone and did the defensive pose where we were standing. So I got a nice little clip of it for my social media, and it was magical. It was incredible, and that was DB's first pick ever in his career. So that guy has been just walking on clouds for the last week.
Yeah, I saw in the postgame he mentioned his first pick in 3 years. But people don't realize you can actually feel that energy of that fandom going through you. For example, when the Diamondbacks won in 2001 against the Yankees, my son and I were sitting out in the pool area.
That's cool.
And then when Luis Gonzalez hit that little flare over Derek Jeter, the crowd went nuts. He and I are standing. You could literally feel that wave of energy, whatever you call it, go through you. I was curious, did you feel that as well, too?
Yeah, I mean, the vibration that we have been feeling at Ford Field over the last 2 weeks has been incredible. And I was really rooting hard last week, obviously, for the Packers so the Lions could get the NFC Championship game on their own home field with their own fans. That would have been pretty special. But I think they've got a better path going against the 49ers. I think they match up better. I think a lot of people were a little bit nervous after seeing what Green Bay did to Dallas and thinking that that might be a little bit of a red flag that they didn't want to get that game against the Packers in the NFC Championship game.
So speaking of the Lions 49ers, what's the latest that you've been hearing from the Lions perspective? A ton of guys on questionable right now. What are some injury updates that you have for the Detroit Lions heading into Sunday's game?
Yeah. So I just finished up in the locker room. Frank Ragnow is good to go. He had a heavily wrapped left leg. As you recall, he didn't miss a snap last week, but he did go down with, as Jared Goff rolled up on him, looked like he had a knee and an ankle injury, probably just a sprain. He will go this week, which is great news. Other than that, we're still waiting for the final injury report. But at this point in time, I would guess the only guys that will likely miss the game will be Jonah Jackson and Khalif Raymond. Other than that, though, they are relatively healthy for this time of year, which is really good news. Obviously, Sam Laporta has been playing through his knee injury, and he's been effective. I mean, God, talk about a tough guy. He and Ragnow both, have just given master classes on playing hurt these last 2 weeks.
Well, in the addition of Zach Ertz as well now, Jennifer Hammond's joining us here on the right, trying to get a sign. I mean, if Laporta goes down, you got Zach Ertz. How much has he been with the first team or practicing, and how does he look? Because he's had a long time off.
Yeah, he did have a long time off, and we don't get to watch the portion of practice where they're taking reps, with first team, et cetera. But what Jared Goff did say at the podium following practice is he's a veteran. He's a guy who's been there, done that, knows what he's doing, and he's been mixing in quite well. I don't know how many plays they'll actually draw up for him, although the fact that he's, even available for them in a blocking scheme is really going to be huge for the Lions, because that's something that Brock Wright was really important to this team with, was his blocking ability. And who knows, maybe they'll draw something up and put he and Laporta both out there, and he'll have to be respected. I mean, I think it's going to be kind of fun to see what Ben Johnson feels like he can do or wants to do with him. So I'm looking forward to that. And obviously Zach Ertz had great things to say about Dan Campbell, because, he was the same position, and he's a guy that he respects, and he loves the way that he operates. So it's going to be fun to see what they do with Ertz.
And not that, I don't want to put this out there in the universe if a lot of people are out there, but if Laporta goes down and Ertz were to go down, do you take one of those tackles and line them up at times?
Don't even. Don't even.
Report eligible. Make sure they report eligible.
Jennifer, it's a quarterback. It's a quarterback thing. I always want to make sure I know who's on first and what's on second.
Yeah, reporting eligible is one of the buzzwords that really get the crowd going here in Detroit.
Hey, Jennifer.
One left.
Sorry.
And Skipper reported eligible, the crowd went crazy. Go ahead. Sorry.
Hey, Jennifer, you being someone that reports and covers this team, came out early this week that Brad Holmes won Executive of the Year, first GM in Lions history. I mean, you talk about 3 rookies that made the first team, all-rookie team this year, Jahmyr Gibbs, Jack Campbell, and Sam Laporta. What's Brad Holmes like when you interview him, when you talk to him? And he seems like a pretty intense guy.
You know what Brad Holmes is like as a guy, and this is the thing that I choose to reflect on, and I feel like we're friends now after a week on the air. We saw him in the lobby bar in Green Bay, and he offered to buy me a bourbon, and I really appreciated that. And he kind of picked my brain just about, I've been around for a minute, and what I've seen, and how great this fan base is, how great this city is. I mean, he's just a guy. That's my point about buying the bourbon. He's just a regular guy, except for when he gets on the elevator and screams at the top of his lungs after his team beats the Rams, for the first time in 32 years and advances to the next round. But he's really a great human, and I think that's one of the things I like the most about him. He's really approachable, and he has worked his way up. Talk about a guy who's earned everything he's gotten. It's a lot like this team. He oddly wears this Detroit type of mentality and personality, and he didn't even, he's only spent 3 years here. And earlier this week, it was actually kind of funny, because some of the guys from the different draft classes, the 22, his first draft class was 21. The 21 guys and the 22 guys were kind of having a battle of which draft class is better. And it's really fun to hear, guys like Aleem McNeil and Amon-Ra and Penei Sewell and Aiden Hutchinson and all of them go back and forth, because those are guys that Brad Holmes brought to this organization, and they are major contributors. It's not just like they're guys that, they play a role. They are starters. They are depended on, and they're going to be superstars. Some of them already ascending between Amon-Ra and Aiden. It's really incredible to watch.
She's Jennifer Hammond. She does the post-game show for the Lions on 97.1 The Ticket. You can also tweet her at HammerFox2. That's at HammerFox2. Okay, so truth be told, I've been training Brock Purdy, as you know, since 9th grade. Want to see him have a great game.
You told me that.
Yeah, I mean, it just, not that I'm biased or anything, Jennifer. So if you beat him, I'll be rooting for you. Trust me, I will. All that being said, what is the mantra after last week's game, now going into San Francisco for this team overall?
Keep it the same. Prepare the same. Go to work the same. Go to practice the same. It is what they've done all year long. Keep the same preparation, keep the same mindset. They're not getting too high, they're not getting too low. I asked Dan Campbell today if there was any special pregame comments that he was leaning toward, when he would think about that, if he would write something down, if he wanted to say something different, special to a team. And he said, that's a slippery slope. As soon as you start treating it like something different, then guys think they have to behave differently. And all we have to do is be who we are, who we've been all along, and that is a hard-nosed, resilient team that stays in the moment, and when things go wrong, it doesn't rattle us, and when things are going well, we stick to what we know. I mean, it's been unchanged all week long, even to the point that Dan Campbell had an extra day at the podium this week, and I think he was a little edgy today when he walked in and he had to do a fourth day. Tuesday they were off, but fourth day in front of so many extra media. He's like, this is all what becomes the extra. This is what makes it different. For us, it's all the same. We go in, we go about our business, we do everything that we've done all along, and it doesn't change. And I think that's a great mindset, and it's really their superpower.
Jennifer, great stuff. We always appreciate having you on. Best of luck going to San Francisco. And if we catch up with you next week, we catch up with you next week. How's that?
How about it? I love it. And I did talk to David Montgomery, who also is an Iowa State Cyclone,
Yes.
who was there for Brock Purdy's freshman year when he actually had to step in and play. And he had great praise for Brock, saying, this guy shouldn't be called irrelevant in any sense of the word, but he's resilient too, and he's tough, and he's going to be able to do a lot for that team. So look where it's gotten him. I love that sidebar.
Well, it's great because I will say this, Jennifer, a lot of folks out there, he ignores the noise, but he does have that passion burning inside of him. I'll just kind of leave it at that.
Yep. So he and Jared Goff are two of the same. And it's going to be a great game regardless. I really think that football fans are getting the two best teams in the NFC this year, and it's going to be outstanding to watch those two offenses go toe-to-toe.
She's Jennifer Hammond. You can also tweet her at HammerFox2, at HammerFox2. Jennifer, thank you so much. We appreciate it. Best of luck to you.
Thank you, guys. Hope I get to talk to you next week.
All right, that's it. Jennifer Hammond, and Jennifer is sponsored today by All City Towing. If you're looking for a career that pays great with incredible benefits, All City Towing continues to look for new people to join their team. Head to allcitytowing.com and search careers. All City Towing, statewide service, and they answer your call 24/7. That's allcitytowing.com. Well, coming up next, it's our Football at 50 and a random fact, and it's on this day